In this video, I'm going to give you the exact framework I like to use when helping farmers transition from what they're currently doing to regenerative, and in the meantime, reducing inputs while maintaining yields. Now, I call it the biological supply curve, and the biggest and the most important thing for this is that we're trying to maintain the nutritional supply to our plants and our crops so that we're not going to suffer from a reduction in yield. So that's the biggest thing. We want to make sure we can produce a crop without losing yield, but also transitioning to regenerative agriculture. So the way I like to do this, or demonstrate this, is if we were to plot, say, the nutrient supplies to our plants, and it's going to look like this. If this is the nutrient or the input requirement for our crop, this can be time here. So our plants, regardless of whether or not you're in a regenerative system or you're in a traditional or whatever conventional system, the amount of nutrients our plants need are the same, regardless of what system we're in. The only thing that changes is how we're going to give our plants those nutrients. So let's take wheat, for example. Wheat requires about 23 kilos of nitrogen per ton. Regardless of whether or not you're getting this from biology or you're getting it from urea or starter, it needs 23 kilos of nitrogen for a particular protein content per ton. And that's physically in the product that we're removing, which means we need to supply for every ton of wheat we have that much. Likewise, it's about 3 kilos of phos per ton and so on, so on. So that's called a removal rate. Now, it actually needs a little bit more from the soil to supply that crop because there's a certain amount in the biomass that gets left behind. But in terms of the removal rate, this is what we're trying to hit. The thing is, where do we get this product from? We can either get it from biology, which takes that from the soil parent material, or just the soil material itself, or our fertiliser. And so what typically happens is we apply fertiliser, and that's largely a lot of, or 100% of the crop removal rate. And it's not a bad way of doing it, and it's worked so far. But if we're going to use these biological systems and use the minerals within our soil, as well as using our microbes to fix nitrogen, we don't want to be supplying that nutrition. We want the system to supply it. So we start off with, when we first start transitioning, at 100% of our crop requirement is given as pretty much input. Now, it's actually a little bit different to this because already about 70 or so % of the nutrition is coming from the soil. But let's just say the inputs we're giving is about 100%. Now, on the other hand, our biological or the regenerative inputs that we're putting into the system, we're going to say is 0%. So the thing is, regardless of your system, the sum of these have to equal 100%. Now, the end goal is to get our 100% down to nearly zero, or at least a very low maintenance rate, to say 5 kilos a hectare of phos, which is kind of like that lower limit, so we get the benefit of both maximizing our yield, but also not hindering soil biology. So we want to be able to get our 100% input down to a lower level. So whether that's 0%, and it really depends on your goals. If that's 0%, we can target that. If that's a lower percent, like 20% or 5%, we can try and target that. What our inputs are going to look like is that they're going to start coming down. We want our inputs to come down like that to hit, let's just say 0%. This requires our biology to then supply that nutritional requirement. To supply it 100%. So typically, some farmers I've talked to, they go, okay, I've heard other people, other farmers are able to supply 100% of their crop requirement with just biology. So here, what I'm going to do is cut my nutrition and expect the soil biology to supply that. But what happens is their soil biology is still over here. So then they cut their inputs and they get a lower yield. And that's simply just because we haven't built up the system to supply the crop's nutritional requirements. So what we like to do is focus on building the amount of nutrition our soil can supply to our crops, which is this green line, and then reactively cutting our input rates. What we're doing is we're just responding to what the plant can manage and what the soil can supply, and then we're cutting our our inputs according to that. Now this lines up with the ROOTS framework. So the ROOTS framework stands for reframe your mindset, optimize your inputs, outsource your inputs, transform your system, and then steward your system. At each of these points, we can try and continue to cut more and more inputs. And that next stage allows for that system to supply that nutritional requirement to the crop. So what we typically do is we only work with people that are interested in regenerative agriculture. We don't try and persuade anyone. They have to be interested first. We help them optimize their inputs so that we start to increase the efficiency of our inputs and start to develop to here. This might be 20% of our inputs are supplied by biology or a more efficient form of that. So a great example is adding humic substances to your starter fertiliser. We can reduce our inputs because we improve the efficiency. Once we've gotten to a point where we've cut our inputs by 80%, our soil biology is supplying 20%, we can then go on to the next stage and really focus on outsourcing. So outsourcing is that next stage, and that's things like rather than using starter fertiliser or a MAP humic fertiliser, we're going to use a guano starter fertiliser. Now that's softer on biology, it has a broader range of nutrition, and so we're going to try and develop that system so it supplies even more of the crop requirements. Likewise with Transform, we're going to use things like buckwheat and nitrogen solubilizing bacteria and try and stimulate those to then supply even more of the crop's requirement. Finally, we have Steward, which is developing that lower maintenance rate that we find has the optimal level of nutrients required for the crop to maximize yield. And so that might be, are we applying just a phosphorus foliar application at the Z20 stage for wheat? Are we applying 5 kilos a hectare of phosphorus through guano, or is it through something else? Try and find what suits your system in this stage. So that's kind of it for the biological supply curve. The big thing to remember is that we can't just suddenly cut our rates. We need to do this in a strategic way that doesn't cut our yields. Because if we only supply 40 kilos of nitrogen per hectare of nitrogen, then we can only produce 2 tons of wheat. So we want to be able to supply the crops with its nutrition before cutting rates. And so what we need to focus on is improving this line rather than cutting this line. Because once we improve this line, we can look at our differential sap test, we can look at our soil test and go, okay, the system is now supplying more nutrition, we can then cut our rates. And so a lot of the times in our consulting work, we try and look at, okay, how can we increase this green line so that we can cut our inputs? But the thing is, we still need our inputs. And so I've had a lot of conversations with people recently where they're like, we just don't want to use fertilizer. But why? It's a very much an idealistic approach. If you want to get a certain yield target, that's of course economic for your climate, and our system can't supply, we need to be able to make up this gap here. And that is what we input to our system. Otherwise, there's a chance of reducing yield. And if that's the strategy, that's up to you. But typically, I like to try and maximize our yield for our area because land's expensive and we've got to get the highest return on investment from our land. And so doing it in this way, I've found to be the best way of maintaining yields, but also building up our system. And so building up our system looks like biological inoculants on our seed coat, increasing the Brix level in our plants to then feed more microbes, soil primers to some extent, cover crops, livestock integration, all these things. Well, anyways, if that sounds interesting to you and you'd like to implement some of the things we've talked about today, trying to increase the biological supply of nutrients to our plants, you can sign up for a free consult. We'll go over 5 different ways that you can start implementing these ideas onto your farm. Awesome. My name's Till. Cheers.